The Wyoming wind howled like a wounded animal the night Benjamin Cross found the boy bleeding in his stable. Couldn't have been more than 16, clutching a bullet wound in his shoulder, his face twisted in pain and terror. Benjamin recognized the brand on the stolen horse tied outside. It belonged to the Cowboy Ranch, 50 miles north. This kid was a horse thief, and in 1876 that meant a rope and a tree. Before we continue, I want to know, which country are you watching this from? Drop your country name in the comments right now. And if this story has already grabbed your attention, hit that like button because what happens next will leave you speechless. The boy's eyes met Benjamin's, and in them was nothing but resignation. "I know what I done, mister," he gasped, his voice shaking. "I know the law. I beg you, just make it quick. Don't let me bleed out slow like this. Please." Benjamin stood there, lantern in hand, his shadow stretching long across the hay-strewn floor. He was 52 years old, a man who'd lived by the code of the West his entire life. He'd served as a deputy for 5 years, had brought in rustlers and outlaws, had seen justice delivered swift and certain. The rules out here were simple. You stole a horse, you died. It wasn't cruelty. It was survival. A man without a horse in this territory was a dead man, so stealing one was akin to murder. But something made Benjamin pause. Maybe it was the way the kid's hand shook, or the fact that he looked half-starved, his ribs showing through his torn shirt. "What's your name, boy?" Benjamin asked quietly. Daniel Murphy." The kid coughed, blood on his lips. "You gonna do it or not? I can't take this pain much longer. Where's your family, Daniel?" "Dead. Ma died of fever last winter. Pa got trampled by cattle 2 months back. I got 3 younger sisters in Cheyenne, staying with a neighbor who said she'd keep 'em 1 month, no more. That month's almost up," tears mixed with dirt on his face. "I just needed to get to Fort Collins. Got an uncle there who'd take us in. But I had no money, no horse, no way to get there in time. So I stole one. I know it's wrong. I know I deserve what's coming. Now stop for just a moment. You're standing in that stable, holding that lantern. This boy broke the law, but you've just heard his story. What would you do? Comment your choice below because what Benjamin does next will shock you." The rancher froze. His mind raced back 30 years, to when he was a desperate young man himself, caught stealing food for his dying mother. A sheriff named John Henderson had found him, and instead of jail had given him a job, a second chance, a future. Henderson had said something Benjamin never forgot. "The law is important, son, but mercy is what makes us human." And then Benjamin did the unthinkable. He set down the lantern, pulled out his knife, and the boy flinched, closing his eyes for the end. But Benjamin cut away the bloody shirt and began cleaning the wound. "Bullet went clean through," he muttered. "You're lucky. Couple inches to the left and you'd already be dead." For 3 weeks, Benjamin nursed Daniel back to health. He fed him, changed his bandages, and listened to his story. The kid wasn't a criminal. He was desperate, making a terrible choice for love of his family. When Daniel could finally stand without swaying, Benjamin did something even more unthinkable. He saddled his own horse, his faithful companion of 12 years, and handed the reins to the boy. "This is Ranger. He's the finest horse in Wyoming, and he's yours now." Daniel stared, unable to speak. "But why?" "I don't understand. I'm a thief. You were a desperate kid," Benjamin corrected. "Now you're a man with a second chance. Take Ranger to Fort Collins. Get your uncle. Bring your sisters to safety. And Daniel, when you're settled and those girls are grown, you pass this forward. You find someone who needs mercy when they deserve judgment, and you give them what I'm giving you." Daniel rode out at dawn, tears streaming down his face. Benjamin watched him go, knowing he'd never see Ranger again, knowing folks would call him a fool. His wife Martha came to stand beside him. "You gave him your best horse," she said softly. "I gave him his life. The horse is just a horse." 20 years passed. Benjamin was 72 when a young man appeared at his door with 3 women and 5 children. It was Daniel, now a successful freight company owner. Behind him, Ranger stood in the wagon traces, old but well cared for. "I'm bringing him home, Mr. Cross," Daniel said, his voice thick with emotion. "And I'm bringing you something else. This is my sister Rose. She's a teacher now. This is Anna. She's a nurse. And this is Sarah. She runs a dress shop. They all want to meet the man who saved their brother so he could save them." Benjamin learned that day that mercy multiplies. Daniel had built a life on the second chance he'd been given, and had helped dozens of others in turn. The boy who'd begged for a quick death had instead received a long life full of purpose. Sometimes the bravest thing a man can do is break his own rules for the right reason. If this story moved your soul, if it reminded you that compassion can change the world one person at a time, then I need you to do something right now. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because I bring you powerful Wild West stories like this every day. Stories that prove honor and mercy still matter. Share this video with someone who needs to be reminded that their worst moment doesn't define their whole story. And tell me in the comments, have you ever been given a second chance that changed your life? Or have you given one? I read every single comment, and your stories inspire these videos. Thank you for being part of this community. Remember, we all stand in that stable sometimes, holding the lantern. Choose mercy when you can.